These 8 fragrances don't just last, they survive showers, they survive laundry cycles, nuclear fallout, and probably the end of civilization.
Where's the kaboom? There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
Today we're going to talk about 8 of the most beast mode fragrances in my collection. These are the fragrances people are going to smell before you walk in the room, and they're going to remember it 2 to 3 hours after you walk out. I'm going to give you my 2 cents at the end. Let's get going. Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is My 2 Cents. My name is Sean. If you've already been here, welcome back. And if you're a new viewer, welcome, welcome. Now before we get started, I want to say, if you like fast-paced fragrance reviews and you're not already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. You know the algorithm really likes it when you do that, and so do I. Alright, that said, today we're going to review 8 beast mode fragrances, and I am going to rank them. I'm going to run them down from 8 to 1, because who doesn't like a good ranking? And it also gives you something to argue with me about later in the comments. Alright, so let's get started. What makes a beast mode fragrance? Well, for me, it means that everyone's going to smell it. People are either going to be very attracted to the scent or they're going to be offended by it. Either way, you are going to mark your territory when you walk around wearing any one of these fragrances. Alright, so let's get started. For number 8 on the list, I was very hesitant to put this down there so low, but it is one of the newer fragrances in my collection, but it had to be included because I've had such beast mode experience wearing this. Number 8 is going to be Oud Xarion by the House of Creed. With most of the new Creed fragrances, a lot of the old Creed fragrances, you think it's a French company, they've got really refined, pretty, beautiful perfumes that just work, but a lot of the new ones that they've got, think Queen of Silk, Carmina, Absolute Aventus, Centaurus. These are really, really strong fragrances. I think Creed listened to the people online that said that their fragrances don't last and they don't project. This is no exception. This Oud Xarion is a beast. When I first heard that they were going to do an oud scent, I really thought this was going to be a dirtier, more fecal oud. This is a very soft, refined oud, mixed at the center with rose. The rose and the oud aren't the stars. What you really get here is a blast of spices. This one's got smooth wood, smooth spices, giving it a refined yet very, very expensive feel. And it's a good thing it gives you that feeling, because this is going to cost you about $700 for a 100 ml bottle. At the top of this, you've got saffron, you've got pink pepper, you've got a blend of spices, you've got a really strong ginger note, you've got licorice. At the heart, it's got that rose and that oud, but they're really not the central players here. They're basically just the sideshow. Everything else around it, that spicy smell, this is what you really get out of this. For me, this smells like a refined version of a Middle Eastern spice market, and it's extremely wearable. I think this fragrance lasts forever. So my experience with this is, I wore it into an Indian restaurant in London. I walked in, there's incense burning, there's the smell of all the Indian food cooking. It smelled amazing. Yet 2 people stopped me to ask me what I was wearing because they could smell the Oud Xarion over everything else. So if you're looking for something by Creed that's going to make you stick out, this is a very refined, beautiful scent. I think you're really going to like Oud Xarion, but this is number 8 on the Beast Mode list. Alright, number 7 on the Beast Mode list is from the House of Frederick Malle. I couldn't not put this on this list. This is called Portrait of a Lady. This red bottle is the 15th anniversary edition. If you know Frederick Malle, this is a perfume house that lets its perfumers go big. They spare no expense on the ingredients, and ultimately what you get is a powerhouse scent. What you've got here is a commanding rose. It's a very, very dark rose. Don't think something that's light like a rose water. Don't think something jammy. Don't think something cloying. This rose is very dark. It's coupled with patchouli. It's coupled with incense. Don't let the name fool you. Portrait of a Lady is not an overtly feminine fragrance. I feel like this is something that men can wear as much, if not more, than women. I was at the barbershop the other day getting my hair cut, and I was wearing it, and the guy cutting the hair next to me said, "Are you wearing Portrait of a Lady?" So he recognizes it. Maybe he wears it or he has it. And the thing about this fragrance is it's very aggressive and very forceful as far as the scent goes, but it's also very elegant and very classy at the same time. You can pretty much wear this year round. A lot of people will say this is a very heavy fragrance and they may not want to wear it in the summer months. I still find it as effective in the summer and the spring as I do in the fall and the winter. But coming into the winter, this is a fantastic fragrance. If you don't know Portrait of a Lady, get this one, get your nose on it. This is by Dominique Ropion. Very few dupes exist of this, so get your hands on the original. This is Portrait of a Lady by Frederick Malle, and it's fantastic. All right, moving right along to the house of BDK. I have not reviewed BDK on here on the channel yet because I don't own that many in the lineup. I have tossed around the idea of getting the most popular fragrance, Gris Charnel, so many times, and I've always put it back on the shelf. I finally pulled the plug. I was in a store in Chicago called House of Niche. Aftab, if you're watching, hello. I was smelling Gris Charnel, and I was also smelling Gris Charnel Extrait. I ended up getting the 6th fragrance on our list. That is going to be Gris Charnel Extrait by BDK. Where in the original of this you have that fig scent, what you're getting here is a creamy fig mixed with cardamom wrapped up in a very, very dark, woody spine. Almost oudy in the Extrait version. It's very smooth and very intimate for a fragrance, but it's also very persistent. This is going to last on you and it is going to project like crazy. People are definitely going to smell this one. I think Gris Charnel actually provides more of an indirect olfactive assault, but it still gives that power that you're looking for in a beast mode fragrance. People are going to smell you from a mile away, but I think they're not really going to know what they're smelling. This is smoother, this is subtler, this is a little bit creamier. It's a little bit sweet, a little bit floral. You've got iris, you've got a tonka nuance in here. At the base, you've got what really makes this mysterious. You've got sandalwood, you've got musk, you've got patchouli, and you've got cashmerean. This is another great date night fragrance. This is another great fragrance to wear when you're going out to dinner. This is going to events. This is going to the office. I feel like Gris Charnel, the original, is very, very wearable in almost any setting. And I think it's pretty much the same with this. This is a little bit of a heavier fragrance, as I've said. I don't have too much experience with the original Gris Charnel, so I don't know how it lasts. If you know it, please let me know what you think about it. But this one is definitely a beast mode fragrance, and that puts it in position number 6 on our list. All right, moving right along, position number 5 is going to be from the House of Zoologist. If you don't know Zoologist, it's a Canadian-based company which makes fragrances named after animals based on the scenario in which the animal lives and their environment. The one on our list in position number 5 is going to be called Rhinoceros. For Zoologist, everything is about storytelling. They've basically got a character trapped up in the bottle. It's so strong. And you get an olfactive experience based on that character. Some of these fragrances in Zoologist lineup are very wearable, but others try to be fascinating first. And for me, Rhinoceros is one of the most unapologetic releases that they've had. Let me set the scenario for you with this fragrance. Imagine you're on the African savannah and you've got a canvas tent. Inside the tent, you've got leather gear, you've got a flask of rum, there's dried tobacco leaves. The sun is baking everything into this boozy, rugged, smoky, outdoorsy scent. There's no sweetness here trying to make it friendly, and the notes here give exactly that impression. You've got rum, you've got tobacco leaves, you've got patchouli, you've got musk, you've got amber, you've got moss. It's such a powerful fragrance. This fragrance does not just project, this throws itself off you into every direction. This is one of those fragrances that projects like it's offended by your personal space. This fragrance is one of those that's going to outlast the day, it's going to outlast you, it's going to outlast the rinse cycle on the washing machine. This is a fragrance not to be taken lightly. This is one of those fragrances to wear when you're not trying to be polite. Out of the bottle, at first spray, it is extremely aggressive. It comes off very, very abrupt to the nose. You may back away. You saw the way I handled it when I first sprayed it. Once it dries down, it is amazing. This fragrance is blended beautifully. It definitely changes over time, and I ask you to definitely give yourself some time with this one. This is not going to be a safe blind buy. If you go to Zoologist's website, they have 2 ml samples that you can buy. Definitely worth the buy, and definitely put it on your skin before you commit to buying the full bottle. But if you like a beast mode fragrance, Zoologist's idea of beast mode is definitely Rhinoceros. That puts Rhinoceros in position 5 on the countdown of top beast mode fragrances. All right, we've made our way to number 4. And y'all know how I absolutely love a good Marc-Antoine Barrois Canton Biche collaboration. You all know how I feel about Ganymede. But I did want to include Ganymede in every one of the lists that I do. So on the Beast Mode list, to include Marc-Antoine Barrois, I put Ganymede Extrait. I know, it's a little cheap, but it definitely belongs on this list. This is in position number 4. Before I get to spraying it and before I take the cap off, I have to say, of all the fragrances behind me, this is the only one that I can smell through the cap without even taking it off. So the original Ganymede became a cult classic and became so popular because it smelled futuristic, but it didn't smell weird at the same time. The Extrait does pretty much the same thing, however it takes it deeper, darker, and it's a little bit more intense than Ganymede. Ganymede, as you know, if you know the fragrance, is a beast mode already. So what this actually smells like, if you take the metallic DNA of the original Ganymede and you make it a little bit saltier, a little bit richer, a little bit more mineralistic, and you make it more intense, that's what you've got here in the Extrait of Ganymede. Think of a fragrance that's less airy, it's got more gravity to it. What I think when I really smell this one is, I think it smells almost a little bit more syrupy. It's a little bit thicker than the original Ganymede, it's a little bit heavier. So the Extrait here is going to have a little bit more weight. It's going to cling to your clothing, it's going to cling to your skin. Think a lot less smooth suede and a little bit more metallic smoke scent. This is an unstoppable fragrance. You are going to smell it on your coat for at least the next 7 days. This is like bottled up silent dominance. Everybody in the room is going to smell Ganymede Extrait. No matter what somebody else is wearing, you're going to overpower them with this fragrance. When I first bought Ganymede, I was tossing between getting this one or the original, and I had to start with the original, but this one was so good I had to go back to the store to get it. So I think it's worth having both of them in your collection. I would like to do a side-by-side review. Let me know if you're interested in that. Write a comment. All right. That said, this was Ganymede Extrait by Marc-Antoine Barrois, and this is number 4 in our lineup. All right, we've reached the top 3. If you've stayed with me this far, you don't want to miss out on the top 3 fragrances. Number 3 in the lineup is from the House of Amouage. If you don't know the House of Amouage, think luxury perfumes with woods, with incense, with spices. Think very Middle Eastern luxury. Number 3 from the House of Amouage is Purpose 50. I know you know I already love this fragrance if you've seen the other review, but I had to include it on here because I've had so many beast mode experiences with this fragrance. So, Purpose 50. The biggest joke I had with this fragrance is that the first time I wore it, somebody said it smelled like a priest. And I totally get those churchy vibes out of this. Think frankincense, think incense, think myrrh, think sandalwood and vanilla, wrapping it up, making it very cozy. This is such a cozy fragrance for something that is such a beast mode. The perfumer behind this is Canton Biche. You can imagine this is blended perfectly. How he was able to create a fragrance that has such projection and such longevity, but make it so soft and cozy at the same time is completely beyond me. And I respect everything that he's done with this fragrance. This is in my top 10 fragrances. I absolutely love what it does. This fragrance is engineered beautifully. It is structured. Every note inside this fragrance seems intentional. Like I said, here we've got frankincense, we've got black pepper, we've got pimento, we've got bergamot, there's vetiver, there's sandalwood, there's resins, there's musk, there's incense. This fragrance is a blending masterpiece. Now, as far as my experience goes with this fragrance, aside from being asked if I was a priest because I was wearing this fragrance, another thing with this fragrance is if I've gone on vacation or if I've gone on a work trip and there was a sweatshirt that I was wearing, but I wore Purpose 50 with the sweatshirt, 3, 4, 5 days later, I'll get asked by someone, were you wearing Purpose 50 on that sweatshirt? Even if I open up my suitcase when I get home, somebody who knows the fragrance will say, oh, somebody wore Purpose 50, and it's so true. This one will not come out of your clothing unless you give it a very, very, very deep rinse. If you're looking for something that's gonna project, yet it's soft and it's cozy and it's warming at the same time, then you want Purpose 50 by the House of Amouage. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. One of the reasons this one is so strong is because it's got 50% oil. That's what the 50 means in the title. So you know that this is definitely going to have some projection and longevity. But no big secret, I absolutely love it, and therefore it had to be on my list. This is in position 3 on the Beast Mode fragrances, Purpose 50 by Amouage. All right, we reached the top 2. This one is by the House of Mancera. If you don't know the House of Mancera, they are known for value and sheer force. These fragrances will pack quite a punch for what you pay for them. Some of them are about 160, 180 bucks. You can even get a smaller size at a more affordable rate. There were a lot of fragrances I could have chosen in this list from the House of Mancera because they do pack quite a punch. One of them that I was going to put in here is red tobacco or intense red tobacco. I know, please don't get angry with me for not including that. I had to include this one because it just does it for me. The fragrance that I chose for the number 2 position is Hindu Kush by the House of Mancera. When you think Mancera, you think huge projection, you think strong longevity. Basically what you're getting here is a niche perfume without the niche perfume pricing. Mancera fragrances are the king of oversprayers. This house does not do weak fragrances. So with Hindu Kush, what you're getting is a smoky, resinous fragrance with incense and a cannabis twist here. So when I say that this has got a cannabis twist, I don't mean to say that it has a very strong weed smell. Think a sticky green resin wrapped up with sort of an amber and spice. So for the notes here, you've got a cannabis accord, like I said, you've got patchouli, you've got incense, you've got spices. In the base, you've got some amber, labdanum, guaiac wood, and you've got musk. So this one opens up very green, very herbal, very spicy, very smoky, slightly resinous. Then the patchouli kicks in, giving it a very woody, very spicy backbone. When we talk about projection, we talk about longevity, specifically with beast mode fragrances, I have got to warn you, do not overspray this fragrance. One spray is pretty much going to last you all day long. I'm not kidding on this fragrance. This is one of the most powerful fragrances that I own. As you can see, I barely used it and I have had this for years. Now, depending on how obnoxious you want to be, you may want to spray it 2, 3, or 4 times. Who am I to judge? But like I said, 1 spray is going to last an absurdly long time, 2 sprays is going to give you this wall of scent, and 3 sprays basically will mean somebody will complain. If you don't know Hindu Kush, please get your hands on it. That makes the number 2 position in our Beast Mode fragrances lineup. All right, we're up to number 1. Thank you for staying with me this long. So the number 1 fragrance in the Beast Mode lineup here for me, and there was no question that this was going to be the number 1 fragrance here. It's in the house of Orto Parisi. If you know Orto Parisi, you know that this house does very unapologetically strong, unapologetically weird fragrances. But the number 1 fragrance for me that is the most incredible Beast Mode fragrance is Megamare by the house of Orto Parisi. Now, the nose behind the house of Orto Parisi is Alessandro Gualtieri. If you're familiar with Nasamato, same guy did those fragrances. So the concept here is think scent tied to the body with animal instinct. They don't do polite, they do primal. All right, so with Megamare, this fragrance is supposed to smell like an aquatic, oceanic experience, or at least that's what you think by the title. Mega meaning big, mare meaning ocean, but this is not going to be your typical aquatic scent. This is not going to be something that's going to smell like a cool breeze over the ocean. What you're getting here is a completely different experience, and I really respect Gualtieri for what he was able to produce. What this really smells like for me is, think about a walk along the beach, and you stumble upon a cove which may have a boat overturned. Think a metallic boat. On the boat, because it's been sitting there for ages, you've got salt from the ocean caked on. You've got a green scent, which is actually algae and seaweed. You've got rust in there, and you've still got some of that saltiness coming off the ocean, giving you an ocean vibe. This fragrance is not trying to be pretty in the least. This is trying to tell you a story. The opening is a bright citrus scent. I think it's bergamot in the opening, but then you get that experience along the ocean. So one of the things about Gualtieri is he does not release the notes in the fragrance. He leaves it up for the purchaser to discern what they smell in the fragrance. But what they're listed online as is you've got a briny marine accord, you've got a citrus burst at the front. It smells to me like it might be lemon, it may be bergamot. In the middle, you've got seaweed, ozonic minerals, subtle florals. There's ambergris style accord. You've got woods in here, you've got musk. But this is one of those fragrances that everybody is going to smell around you. The entire room will know that you're wearing Megamare, depending on how much you've sprayed it. This is one of those fragrances that I could say if I sprayed it on my arm and then I took a shower, I would still be able to smell it after my shower, even thoroughly washing it off. When I first sprayed it on my skin in London, I didn't purchase it. I sprayed it on my arm. I kept going back to it, sort of regretting the fact that I didn't get it. I took 2 showers before I ended up going to sleep. I could still smell Megamare on my hand overnight. I knew that this was going to be one of those fragrances that was going to be hard to wash off. Added to that, they kind of play with you because once you get into the shower and the fragrance ends up getting wet again, you start smelling those ocean smells even more loud in the shower because the warm water will warm up the fragrance on your skin. It's really an interesting fragrance to play with. It's an interesting fragrance to have. This one is nuclear. This one is going to clear out a room if you spray it too much. But what you're getting here is a story. This is brilliantly crafted. I really like all the fragrances in the Orto Parisi lineup, but this for me is the standout fragrance. There's something in here. You're never gonna end up using the whole bottle. It's got a brilliant blue color to the juice. This is a fantastic fragrance. If you're not familiar with the Orto Parisi lineup, definitely get over to a store that has them and start smelling each one of them. Some of them are a little bit more subtle. Think something like Veride. This one is definitely loud. It's definitely worth trying, definitely worth spraying on your skin, but give Megamare a try and find out why it's number 1 in my lineup. That was my 2 cents on the 8 Beast Mode fragrances. I know, you think I've left something out. I would like to know what you think I left out. Please leave me a comment. Tell me, what are the beast mode fragrances for you? What are the ones that you can't get off your skin, the ones that you smell all night long into the next day? I would love to try them myself. If you liked this video, or if you like any one of these fragrances, I'd also like to hear the comments. I love getting the conversation going. I think up to this point, I've responded to every single one of the comments, even the ones that are mean. All right, I want to say thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, please give me a thumbs up anyway. Like I said, if there's anything you think I left out, please leave me a comment and let me know, and we'll do a Beast Modes Part 2. Thanks for watching. That was my 2 cents. My name is Sean, and I hope to see you next episode.